Welcome back to Hilaal Live. We do apologize for the break in transmission. It seems like the gremlins have gotten the better of us. In studio before the break, I invited Shaheem Laatoe, who is a personal coach, and chatting to us about running. Shaheem, you were saying before we were interrupted about getting back into running and how many people have now also joined running clubs as well. What are some of the benefits?
Yeah, some of the benefits is obviously lots of people look at running to weight management,
Yeah.
to keep the diabetes, blood pressure, heart issues, cardiovascular issues in check as well. And because it's one thing to carry additional weight, but it's another thing obviously to look after your cardiovascular health because that ultimately carries you throughout the day.
Of course.
Because also with myself being asthmatic,
Okay.
I mean, it's also beneficial for you to exercise your lungs, your heart, all of those things, so you don't have to rely on medication, pumps, tablets, all of those things as well.
Okay, that's very important that you mentioned that because a lot of us struggle with shedding weight, especially now that it's winter that's just finished.
Yeah.
We had our comfort eating sessions, switching on our laptop and TV, and chilling in
Netflix. There we go.
in front of our television. So we put on a bit of weight. So good time to start running.
Definitely. The weather's warming up, sun is rising a bit earlier and all of those things. So even before you go to work, you can it's nice and a bit lighter outside. You can get a nice session going, a nice walk. I just this morning when I finished my run and I was at the studio, gentleman sat next to me and he said, no, he went out this morning 6:30 already on Elfin Trail in Constantia.
Nice.
Just for a nice walk, and to be in that environment around nature, listening to the water, listening to the birds, the world waking up, basically.
It's a great start to your day.
Yeah.
What are some of the other benefits that we can look forward to having running in our schedule?
I think that one of the greater benefits, which I'm a new runner, so I've been roughly running about 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
And I'm always taken away by the community feel, especially when it comes to your road running.
Yeah.
Because there's so many running clubs and all of those things, and each and every running club has their own event.
Of course.
For example, Iteco, they have the event in Slave Route, running in the CBD, going around in Boerkaap and things. So it's like really a epic one and a nice way of having a look at the city that you're living in. And running roads and locations you generally won't run. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's obviously places like Googs, Khayelitsha doing their own bits for Heritage Day, for example, all of those things as well. So it's nice to know that, you belong to a certain type of community. Everybody's supporting each other on this health and fitness journey.
Yeah.
And if you do win a medal, everybody celebrates with you as well.
Oh, absolutely. So the Heritage Day, that one's coming up soon, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's usually, I think it was in Googs or Khayelitsha, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic. One of the other things I suppose running does help with is just a social circle.
Yes.
As well. It can be a networking opportunity as well.
Definitely.
I would imagine a lot of people do. But more importantly, it teaches you about your own growth and maybe your resilience that you can have when it comes to every other aspect of your life.
Totally. I think when it comes to health and fitness, it's like, for example, you are busy with a 5K, for example, if you just started walking and you want to upgrade to maybe doing a 5K and it might seem tough, but that inner voices talking to yourself and things, wanting to help you push further. And that also helps with your goal setting as well.
Of course.
If you go to gym, you'll, for example, start on a 3 kilogram, ending up on a 10 kilogram. So all those things are good, not just physically, but mentally as well. And like I said, talking to self, resilience, all of those things.
So for those of us that maybe would like to start running, I only run if someone's chasing me. But do you advise joining a club? Are there apps that you could download? What are the best methods to do that?
Yeah, what you can do is you can maybe, if apps are very useful nowadays to hold yourself accountable. For example, you want to achieve the 10,000 steps. You don't have to join a club immediately. Okay. You can always see, how serious you are about running, because joining a club comes at a fee.
Yeah.
If you want to take it a step further, you have to buy yourself new shoes.
Correct.
You have to buy yourself gadgets, and also entry fees of races coming up and all of those things. So you don't have to join a club just yet. You can maybe just go out and do a park run on a Saturday even.
Oh, nice.
Or even during the week, do a small loop around a park or like we have over here in the Rondebosch Common as well.
Correct. The running industry as well has evolved over the last couple of years, where, like you said, things like the shoe you wear is so important. The
So
gear that
expensive too.
and expensive as well. The gear that you wear, and I would imagine for certain types of weather, your gear would be appropriate as well.
Yeah.
Talk us through some of the gear that is needed, not to affect some of your parts of your body as well, because as you get older, for example, your knees, your hips don't tend to be as stable as you were 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So the right pair of running shoes can really help.
Yes. Also, depending on your foot, that's why it's important also not just to go out and buy a running shoe just because it's a running shoe and from any place as well. Go to a retailer like Sportsman's Warehouse or your ASIC stores and things, and they will do a foot scan.
Right.
And they will check your foot. You will see, obviously, if you pronate, if you're more inner and all those things, if you need support by your arch, all of those things.
Wow.
In terms of your heels to like, are you more on the heel or more front foot, all of those things. So they will recommend a shoe best suited for you. That would obviously come at a cost, the shoes on average today is roughly about maybe 4,000 Rand.
Sure, as much
Good
as that.
pair of shoes. And you're probably going to need, for a season of running, I would say maybe 2 to 3 shoes. You're going to have your racing day shoe, and then you have a shoe that you basically do all your mileage in as well.
Wow. I would not have thought it would be that expensive. And then some of the other gear that's used, obviously being, from Islamic culture, ladies would dress a lot more modestly.
Definitely.
There's a lot more gear for ladies these days as well.
And I'm so happy about that as well. So they can't just use that excuse. Many times it's like, no, I can't go, because...
Yeah.
But I'm happy about that as well. Lots of brands have stepped up to the plate and accommodating our ladies as well.
Nice.
So that's very good to see. And other gear you would look at is like maybe your windproof jackets, rainproof jackets, all of those things. The shoes should be fine.
Okay.
It will get a bit more technical if you're looking at more trail running, which you would need a bit more grip.
Right.
And the lug depth of your shoes as well to grip onto the trails, the routes, all of those things as well.
Okay, so that's very interesting that you mentioned trail running as well, because if you open up social media these days, you would see a lot of people doing trail running.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's also needs a bit of practice, needs a bit of thought out process, because you can injure yourself if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So where do I go to seek advice on that?
I would say firstly see if running is for you, or and then obviously you can transition to a trail, a medium trail. Like for example, I would give an example here by us. Alphen Trail, it's a bit more flat, or you go to Kai Forest, it's got a bit of gravel, a bit of sand.
Right.
So see if you're suited for that type of activity.
Okay.
Or you can, for example, if you are running, mainly road running, try a hike and see if you are fine with elevation, with steps, different terrains, stepping on the routes, all of those things. If it's a bit more tricky for you, then you can decide, are you made for outdoors or more just for the road?
Right. I'm with you. Okay, we're chatting to Shaheem Laatoe, who is a personal trainer and giving us valuable advice around road running, trail running as well. If you ever wanted to, start something like that, and Shaheem is a expert in that field, where you could contact him on social media and he can give you the very best advice as well. The races that we often see that are just amazing, the people, the turnout is phenomenal. Rain or shine, Cape Townians love running, well, South Africans in general as well. It's a great sport to start to concentrate on your health. I think that's the most important part, is to get some of those numbers down.
Yeah, and also it's also, like you said earlier, talking about your knees and all of those things. So, many times it's easy to get into running, just need a pair of shoes and you can go on your way. But, once you start taking it seriously, you need all these additional things we just spoken of.
Yeah.
But then also, don't be one-dimensional about your running.
Okay.
Do a bit more strength training as well, because like you said, that will help with the knees, the aches and pains, because when you do running, a lot is placed on the lower body, the stress is on the lower body. So we have to make certain that your calves can handle these stresses, the hamstring, the glutes, all of those things.
Yeah.
And for example, how to step, for example, up steps if you're doing trail running, what angles to take on elevation, all of those things.
Yeah. And also the supplements, I would imagine, to take along with your exercise, that's very important.
Yeah. So supplements, I would say for 10K or so, you don't need that much. Water should be sufficient, and that's also an important factor also to be hydrated. But if you're looking at longer distances like a 21 or even longer than that, lots of people take gels nowadays, like maybe a caffeine gel just to help boost their performance in the middle of the race. Yeah, but a caffeine gel's in the pocket. And then suck it during the race. And then also like some electrolytes help with hydration. Also around competitive running, lots of people supplement with salt before the time also just to help ease off the cramps and all of those things as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And good advice, don't go and enter in a 10K race if you haven't practiced, because, that proverbial wall that you hit,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to happen.
Totally.
Okay. Do you take through a lot of your clients through some of the practices that's needed for a race prior to a race? Is there anything particular that you would advise?
Yes, some of my clients, if they tell me they are competing in a particular race, recently one of my clients has been to UTMB in France. Like 2 weeks ago, he did 55K over there. Another girl I trained, she did 100K Drakensberg.
Sure.
Yeah, so she was running for, I think, 26, 27 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so catching a small nap, at hydration tent,
Yes.
going on, small nap, and, it's fueling along the way and things. So they would basically tell me what they're concerned about, the elevation, they scared of the knees, of the descent of the trail as well, all of those things. So we would work on those things, on the joints and all of those things to strengthen it a bit more as well.
Okay. Shaheem, if our viewers would like to get hold of you, they'd like to maybe take up some of your personal training services, what's the best methods to do that?
I think the best would be social media will be Facebook, it's Shaheem Laatoe, and Instagram would be at Shaq, SHAQCT, on Instagram, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for coming in, chatting to us.
Shukran.
All the best. Are you doing any of the races coming up soon?
Coming up soon next week, it's Gun Run coming up.
Nice.
So that's a 18K in Cape Town. And then 2 weeks' time, I'm doing the Maxi 30 trail run, 30K in Stellenbosch. Yeah.
Brilliant. All the very best.
Shukran.
Thanks so much. Have a great one. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
And that's Shaheem Laatoe coming into studio, personal trainer, chatting to us about tips of how to improve your running. After the break, we've got a local business chatting about their amazing products and services that they offer. Table 13. Please don't miss that. You are still watching Hilaal Live.